Kyle Neptune has a new guard, Brian. I could not be more excited to talk about this player with you because I know your thoughts on Kyle Neptune in general. He still has a lot of spots to fill on this roster, and we were kind of
Yep.
wondering how's he going to do it. Well, he starts with Bulgarian Chocolate. That's the nickname of Aleksandar Gavalyugov. I'm sure I'm botching that. Gavalyugov. This is one of the better international prospects in the sport, from what smart people tell me. Bulgarian Chocolate is one of the greatest nicknames in college basketball history. So I do like that. I think this is a reference to Jason Williams himself, White Chocolate, because this is a 6'2" point guard with some flash to his game. And most importantly,
Yep.
Kevin Sweeney, CBB Central, friend of the show, he refers to him as Sash. So I would assume that means he goes by Sasha in personal circles, and apparently Kevin Sweeney's on shorthand first name basis with Sash Gavalyugov, aka Bulgarian Chocolate. What does this commitment mean to you?
I think it means a couple of things. Um, I think Villanova is throwing what weight they have around a little bit more than they did earlier in the offseason because Bulgarian Chocolate did have other options. Um, I also think Villanova has playing time to offer because there's not a lot of quality players on the roster, which makes them more appealing. Fit wise, I'm interested to see because I'm just going to call him Bulgarian Chocolate and not try and butcher his last name. Um, is more of a like playmaking passer, Ricky Rubio type, not in the sense that he is Ricky Rubio's skill level, but where like what he wants to do is run the show, set his teammates up, and the scoring is very much secondary. DeJuan Harris esque in that standpoint, though not as like I prefer to shoot 0 times a game like DeJuan Harris is. Um, we haven't seen Kyle Neptune with that kind of lead guard. Part of the reason why I've been down on Kyle Neptune as a coach is I don't think he runs a lot of offense. Like they're like no set plays that Villanova runs. And when it is, it's one or two actions, and then you're sitting there with 20 seconds on the shot clock and no one knows what to do. Having somebody like this who can make plays and be a high level playmaker can open things up a little bit more and have success in that where you can make something out of nothing. And I think that's kind of what Neptune needs in an offense. Whether Sash is going to be able to do that at a level Villanova needs him to right away remains to be seen. I have some doubts about that, but it does make me a little bit more intrigued in the fit and more intrigued with Villanova a little bit more than I was 2 days ago.
Intriguing is the word for me. I now have interest in Villanova basketball because this kid's on the team in a way that I didn't before this commitment. As you're talking through the Neptune points, I think they're all good ones. I am a skeptic, as everyone should be, of Kyle Neptune at this point. I agree he doesn't run stuff. This might be one of those cases where I could talk myself into this being such a bad fit that it's actually a good fit. Because
Yeah.
for Sasha, Sash, as Sweeney likes to call him, Bulgarian Chocolate, he like this screams like, does he know anything about Kyle Neptune? Does he know Villanova? Like, has he watched what's happened the last couple of years? Because you would think if you're like this really creative point guard with NBA upside maybe one day, that would be the last place you would want to go, is like pair yourself with Kyle Neptune and run his offense. And he did have other options, like you alluded to. But when you start to drill into this, maybe Kyle Neptune needs a kid that's not coming from like prestigious high school ranks, who actually is very much just like give him the ball and get out of the way guy. And if you watch the tape of this player, he is so creative and smart and fun and flashy, and he makes things happen with the ball in
Yeah.
his hands in a way that it like that's why you get compared to White Chocolate when you're a Bulgarian high schooler, because you have some of that in your game. And look, I think it's gross, but I would almost argue in a more structured system, like let's just imagine this kid, plop him on Mick Cronin's team with all the returning guards they have, or plop him on Kentucky with Mark Pope, or wherever you want to plop him. One, I don't think he plays to start.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I think there's almost so much structure to a lot of those programs that it probably doesn't complement the freedom and the creativity that he plays with. You plop him on a Kyle Neptune team, you probably need 35 minutes from him, number one. And number two, he's probably going to be told, just go make shit happen. So
Yeah.
for good or for bad, we'll probably see what Sash is capable of. And that alone makes Villanova infinitely more exciting to me.
The offense that they ran last year was not creative, and they didn't necessarily have anybody who could be creative for others. And so when you have somebody now who can be creative in that non-creative offense, it eliminates some of the concern of it being not creative, because you know it's going to be just with his basketball IQ and the plays that he can make or wants to make and sees. I don't know how that's going to look. I don't know if Kyle Neptune is going to give him free reign unless he earns it. Well, we'll have to see about that, but there's certainly more reason, I think, to tune in to Villanova than there was, again, 2 days ago.
There also is the world where, like, he's just so not good enough, and this
Yeah.
becomes the downfall of the Kyle Neptune era, right? Like, if they need him
Well,
to be their first option.
yes, and right now Villanova's roster is full of a number of guys who aren't good enough to play at the level Villanova's used to playing at, right?
Yeah.
So I'm fine with them taking this swing. I'd prefer them take this swing rather than not. But yeah, like this is a make or break year for Kyle Neptune, I think. And you have a roster other than Eric Dixon and Wooga Poplar that is probably of guys that are well below the level you need to be at.
Final question, when you watch his tape, because the tape's fun, you should watch the tape. When you watch his tape, do you take away from that tape, this is a good college basketball player? Yes or no?
I think he can be in February.
Okay.
It just depends the leash he's given and how quickly he adjusts.
Okay. I will just say this. I think he's a brilliant passer and of ball handling stuff through the roof. When I see this tape, one, he looks smaller than 6'2", with all due respect. I mean, you watch it, he looks 5'11". I don't know what he actually will measure, but he looks 5'11". He had some really, really big games in the FIBA events, U18 stuff. He's been really good. I see a guy that makes things fancy when they don't even need to be fancy. I see a guy that like has sauce just to have sauce. And that's fun. There are players we love that do that, but you got to have substance with the sauce. And I don't know that that's going to be there at the college level, at least not in a Kyle Neptune offense, but we'll see. Congrats to Sash, Bulgarian Chocolate, the best nickname college basketball has seen in a decade. The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.